All right, third grade, we are moving forward with session 14. We are near the end of our fairy tale writing. So yesterday, your goal was to come up with 3 ideas that you could turn into your final fairy tale piece. Remember, this is your original fairy tale, or you might have chosen to do another fairy tale adaptation. So today's goal, which you can see on the screen as well, is good writers use their words in a specific way. So kind of another tip and trick with our fairy tale writing is they follow the goal, show, don't tell. Now, what that means is as you are writing, I want you to think carefully about the words that you use to create your sentences. We've talked a lot about in this fairy tale unit that you want your words to give the reader the ability to make that mental movie, to make that picture in their head as they're reading your story. And it's really important that you are showing them with your words. You're not telling them specifically how to make that movie. So your directions for today is you need to pick a fairy tale, maybe one from yesterday, or maybe you just came up with one today, or whatever it was. But I want you to begin writing the first scene in your fairy tale. Think carefully about the words you use to create your sentences. Your writing should guide the reader to make visualizations, those mental movie, that picture in their mind. Now, if I'm asking you to write your first scene, you should see a few paragraphs. This is not just 4 or 5 sentences. I really want you to think about, okay, I have to include my narrator, I need to introduce my character, my setting, and maybe start talking about the problem that my character might face, that trouble. So I have 2 examples on the screen, and I want you to think about which example shows the goal, show, don't tell. So example 1. Once upon a time, there were 3 little bears. They lived in a cottage with their mother and father. There was Mama Bear, Papa Bear, Brother Bear, Sister Bear, and Baby Bear. Okay, so it has once upon a time, which most fairy tales have, so that's a good start. So there's 3 bears. They lived in a cottage with their parents, and we know their names. I can kind of picture characters and the setting so far, but I don't have a lot of detail, and the writer is really just telling me, here are the characters, here's the setting. Let's look at the second example. Once upon a time, there lived a family of bears. Their home was buried deep within the forest, surrounded by tall trees, woodland creatures, and flowers of every color. The bear family built a small little cottage with barely enough room for all to live in. Okay. So, in our second example, once upon a time, we know that there's a family of bears. We know that they live in a cottage in the forest. Okay, so this example gives more details. It talks about the forest, what things are in that forest. I can picture those tall trees. I can picture the flowers. And it even goes to describe the size of the cottage. They said it was small and there was barely enough room for everyone to live in. So looking at those 2 examples, which example follows the goal or focus for today of show, don't tell? If you thought example 2 was the correct choice, that is right. Example 1 is okay, but it's telling me parts of the story. It's not showing me. Now, it's kind of tricky to do, so I want you to really think about if your first scene needs to show the reader, help them make that mental picture in their heads, think about the words you're using. This might take a first or a second try to do this. I want you to try your best. Remember, this is your first scene, so I should see a lot of sentences. I should see some detail. I should see that narrator, your character, and your setting included. Happy writing!